Hello everyone, Brandon with Strict Vision Athletics here today with the Cortex RT Reactive Trainer. Such a cool piece. Can't wait to get into it with you. I'm a big proponent of balance, mobility, and really just really overcoming isometrics when it comes to stability and the type of stuff that involves an uneven surface. This is sort of the culmination of quite a few of those ideas. This is the Cortex RT, and what this does, think of this along the same lines as you would maybe a Bosu ball or maybe the strong board, but on steroids. This thing moves in the smoothest, most free motion way that you could ever imagine. What it is, it's basically a two-part piece. You've got your base right here, which is a steel frame with the ball bearings that are inserted here, here, and here. Then you got your disc, and your disc is very, very specially made. The first thing I want to point out is right here, this is the bumper. This is to make sure that this disc does not shoot out from under your feet when you stand on it, when you press on it, whenever you use it. This bumper will hit this edge and stop you from going too far. For example, if I were to have this on the ground and I were to be doing something and I were to slip, it would hit the edge. So it's not going to entirely take me out. I'm always going to have that little hedge of protection around the inside so that it's done safely. Any of you who follow the page for any length of time, you'll know we do pricing, quality, usage, footprint, and customer service as our 5 categories for the review. Now let's start with pricing. The Core-Tex is not a cheap piece of equipment. The Core-Tex is a one-of-a-kind piece of equipment, and I'll start with that. This is unlike any other balance trainer you will find on the market, so it really is special. That being said, at $640 plus shipping, you are paying an arm and a leg for this. You need to understand that. If you are somebody who is purchasing this piece of equipment, have a reason why you are purchasing it. My particular opinion on this is that if you have special populations, someone who is dealing with a pre-existing injury of a lower extremity, somebody who is a senior citizen, somebody who is dealing with balance, maybe an immobility issue, something like that, the Core-Tex is a very, very good option for you to jump on. If you are a home gym owner and you don't know what you're using this for, figure that out before you decide to drop that kind of money. That's a lot of money for something like this. That being said, while I think the price under a set circumstance would be justified, I think the price is high. I think you need to have an understanding of that, and I think a score of 6.2 for the price is fair for this particular piece. It has a wide range of different uses, and we will get into that in the usage category, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that this is not a Bosu ball. This is not something you're going to get for $200 or $300. This is expensive, and you need to have a reason why you are buying it. Now, quality. The Core-Tex does very well. The Core-Tex is exceptionally well designed. As I mentioned already, it's got the ball bearings. It's very smooth. There's no hitches. It doesn't stick. And it's safe. That's the other thing. It's got a really, really well-made, sleek design, and it looks good. So I'm going to give it a 7.3 for the quality. This is a quality piece. There's really not a whole lot I can say about the design of the piece that I have any kind of beef with. I like it. I think they spent the time and they really did the research to make the toughest reactive trainer that you could really ever hope to get on the market. Let's go to usage. Usage, in my opinion, is the best score that this piece will get. You can do so much with this. Again, with the caveat that you have to understand what it is you are doing and who it is you are doing it on. If I am working with a special population, let's say I'm working with somebody who's experienced a low back vertebrae injury that has caused them the last 3 months to be out of commission. I am going to start with this just with body weight, just getting their feet back underneath them, literally. Maybe one leg on, one leg off. You can do single leg, you can do unilateral, you can do bilateral. That crossbar that comes with it is a very, very good piece to incorporate when you start with a new client. They are going to want to have their hands on something firm and solid when they start out on this. But you can periodize the workouts in either direction. You can make all the exercises either more difficult or less difficult depending on the level of the experience of the client. So in that regard, the usage is very, very good. I think an 8.6 is a very, very fair score. I think Cortex knew who they were selling to and who to market to. I think the Reactive Trainer is a very, very special piece of equipment with a lot of usage. So that's why that score is so high. Next, we'll talk footprint. footprint, the way I store this, is actually pretty darn good. Now, what I like about this piece is that it's not all one giant piece. As I said, when you purchase this, you'll notice it's got this big crossbar that goes across it. I myself sort of discarded that. I use this inside of either my rack, or I like using the stick mobility as my firm surface. I took the big bar away because I wanted to be able to store this even better. The two pieces that you have here, the framework and the disc, can both be leaned up against a wall to where you would barely even know this was here. We're talking a footprint of inches up against the corner of the gym. This is a very, very user-friendly piece from a footprint standpoint. Therefore, I'm going to give this a 7.9. It's a great score for footprint. For what it is, I think it's actually easier to store than a lot of other balance trainers. It can be leaned up against a wall. You barely even know it was there. And like I said, it looks good. It's not going to be weird or awkward in your gym. So yeah, footprint's a good score. Customer service. Let's talk about that. So, getting to my earlier point, which is that if you are purchasing this, you must know who it is that you are going to use this on and how it works. Most people would then follow that up with, okay, I don't know who I would use this on or how it works. How would I find that out? You are going to get a lot of knowledge from this company. Cortex has done a great job through their reactive training, social media outreach of showing a lot of different movement patterns that you can use for this, instructional courses on how to implement the workouts, and really the types of movements for the different types of people that you're going to want to use. You'll go on their page, you'll see senior citizens, you'll see people in prehab, people in high-intensity intervals training, professional athletes, amateurs. Anybody can use this. It's just a matter of knowing how. So I like that these guys knew that this piece was not like anything else, and that a normal person with no knowledge would probably step on this thing, slide to the side, step off, and be like, okay, I don't really know how I would use this. Why doesn't someone show me how? They understood that they had to fill that gap. Cortex and reactive training has really done a great job just explaining how exactly this works and how to implement it for your clientele. So for that, I'm going to give it an 8.0. That's a great score for customer service. So thank you. Appreciate you guys going out of your way to make sure that the experience is good for anybody who purchases your product. The grand total score here is a 7.6. Yes, 7.6. Reactive training, Cortex RT. I love this thing. I had my eye on it for quite a long time before I actually did get it. Shout out to Anthony. Thank you so much for bringing this out to us and going on the podcast. That was a lot of fun too. This is a very well-made piece. Overall, I love it. I think, again, the one caveat is that you must understand what you're doing before you purchase it, or the price will not make sense to you. But once you get past that small hurdle, you will realize this is a very worthwhile piece of equipment.